When energy companies drill wells to produce oil and gas, they also produce tons of waste as an unavoidable byproduct. This waste includes oily drilling fluids, flowback, and lots of other nasty refuse, and it all has to go somewhere. There are 4 primary methods that operators use to manage their energy waste. Let's take a close look at one of the most common of these: reserve pits, also known as waste pits. A reserve pit is pretty simple. It's a big open hole where waste is disposed of and stored. A bulldozer or excavator digs the pit at the drill site, and while drilling or completing the well, the waste is dumped in. Sometimes a plastic liner is used in the pit, but it's not required. And even when it's used, the liner is not sufficient for long-term use. It's thin, wimpy, and can be torn or punctured by heavy machinery, debris, or the waste itself, or prolonged exposure to the environment. All of this makes it highly likely that the liner will leak over time. And right now, all this is legal in Texas. But these are regulations originating from 1984, and they need to change. Especially when you see how often reserve pits are being used and how much waste is being buried out there in these shallow graves. Now let's take a look at what's in this waste. Here's a hint: it's not just dirt and water. Most energy waste contains several contaminants. These elements are natural to our planet, but in energy waste, they're in high concentrations to where they can actually harm the environment. So here's the problem when all this is dumped in a reserve pit, or rather, the many problems. When the drilling is done and the operation moves on, the pit is left behind, open to the environment. Depending on state regulations, operators have anywhere up to 1 year to close the pit. In other words, bury the waste in dirt. While the pit is open, the waste emits greenhouse gases and volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, into the atmosphere. The pit can also entrap and kill migratory birds and other animals. But even after the pit's closed and everyone leaves, contamination risks remain. The waste can contaminate surrounding soil and leak into the groundwater, endangering livestock, wildlife, and spoiling the land for generations to come. Making matters worse, reserve pits are barely monitored, if at all. So all these problems are not detected or prevented. They're simply acknowledged as being part of the industry. There's a better way. Operators can manage waste safely, responsibly, and cost-effectively to help reduce their carbon footprint. They can use closed-loop drilling and professional waste management facilities to dramatically cut carbon emissions, eliminate environmental impact, reduce liability for leaks and contamination, and know that their waste is securely contained forever. It's time to clean up energy.